Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Psalm 46 is basically a declaration of the faithfulness of God and really views God as a refuge for his people. And the first section in verses 1 through 3 describe God as a refuge and strength, a present help in trouble, and then how he can come to people's aid even though the earth should change, though the mountains slip into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains quake at its swelling pride. Here you have the idea of the floodwaters coming in and even shifting the mountains, the earth and the mountains, of the waters roaring and foaming. Basically, this massive amount of water moving through the land. Even though that might happen, God is their refuge and they don't have to fear. And most likely this imagery of this flood, of this water coming in and with destruction, had to do with armies and other nations that might flood in and try to take over Jerusalem. You see that in Isaiah chapter 8, verses 6 through 8, where that similar imagery is used for Assyria. But the whole idea of an army coming in like rushing water with destruction, even if that were to happen, the people didn't have to fear. The people could trust in the Lord because he was their refuge. But after this imagery of chaos and this huge flood coming in and taking over the land and destroying everything in its path, you have a very pleasant picture in verse 4 where it says, "There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy dwelling places of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she will not be moved. God will help her when the morning dawns. The nations made an uproar, the kingdoms tottered. He raised his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us, the God of Jacob is our stronghold." So he says there's this river that comes to Jerusalem that is one that makes the city glad. And the streams make the city glad. He talks about how God is in the midst of her. And then the nations making an uproar, probably alluding to this idea of this flood coming in. Again, maybe an allusion to the nations coming in and trying to threaten the security of Jerusalem. But God, the Lord of hosts, is with us. It says, the God of Jacob is our stronghold. And so just a declaration of the fact that even though nations may come like a flood, God is there to be their protection. And what I would like to focus on for our devotions today is verse 4, where it says, "There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God." And it's believed that perhaps this river that's being spoken of was the waters of Shiloah that flowed down from Gihon and down into Siloam. And it had these, the streams would refer to these channels, these irrigation channels that would come off of it and would be used to irrigate crops and things like that. But symbolically and metaphorically, it seems to be alluding to God, because it immediately talks about God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved, and so on and so forth. And so it could be that this river that's being talked about, this river whose streams make glad the city of God, the city of God, is actually speaking about God himself. And so we can definitely see how that would be the case. The nations are coming like a flood, but we have this river that has these streams that just continually and faithfully water our crops and gives us the full supply and helps us day in and day out. The flooding of the waters might be temporary, but this river was permanent. It was a permanent supply to the people. And we can think about this too, even as we think about ourselves as the city of God. In Revelation chapter 21 and verse 12, it talks about the heavenly Jerusalem that comes down like a bride adorned for her husband, or for her husband. And it's a picture of the church and being alluded to in speaking about the church as Jerusalem. And as we think about this in the terms of the church, we too have God as a river whose streams make glad the city, and make glad the people of God. God is like a continual river that comes into our hearts, comes into our souls, and becomes a continual fountain of sustenance, of full supply for us. And he has many streams that flow from that river. We could think of his streams, the streams of life that we receive from God through our connection to this river. We could think about the streams of mercy that come from this river of God. We could think about the streams of hope, the streams of strength. God has a stream to meet every need of life. And God is the river whose streams make glad the city of God. That is, God is a river, and his channels irrigate our hearts, so to speak, and give us the full supply for every need that we have in life. And so we can say the same thing in our lives as they said in their lives in connection to Jerusalem, in that we have God as a stronghold. Therefore, who shall we fear? God is our refuge and strength. He is our full supply. He is our river whose streams make glad our hearts. And so let's be connected to God today through worshiping him, through reading his word, through praying to him. And let's just stay connected to God all day long. And I think we'll find when we do that, we'll have a full, rich supply, and our hearts will be refreshed and renewed in his presence. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.